What's up, everybody? This is the D, the E-Man, chilling like a villain, singing like Bob Dylan, keep it on the low with some double stuff. Oreos. And right now, I'm chatting with somebody like, okay, so here we go. I'm talking to Saturday morning royalty right now. TNBC royalty. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we're going to talk about that soon. He was an actor that was a part of a show called California Dreams, which was on TNBC for like 5 seasons. 5 seasons. If you've heard of it, you probably have. It was usually followed Saved by the Bell, but it was a show in its own world, you know. And I'm talking to the guy who played Jake Summers. His name is Jay Anthony Franke. How you doing, man? How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good. And it is Frankie, by the way.
Frankie. Sorry, I made that mistake.
No worries.
Yes, Frankie.
Yep, no worries. Everybody does it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, man. How are you? Well, you're in Australia, so it's Saturday over there.
It is Saturday morning at about 11:17 a.m.
Nice.
Yeah, and doing all right. It's kind of sunny out. I don't know if you can see my blinds over here on my right. There's a little bit of sun out. I think we do have some cloud cover, but I've got the blinds closed a little bit, so I can't really see upwards. So.
Yeah, you know, we've known each other for a while through Facebook, and you know, and I want to say first of all, thank you for you're the first to usually say happy birthday to me, because over there it'll be June 1st before it'll be here over here in the States. So I appreciate all the happy birthdays, and also just, you know, whenever I had a question, you would answer it, you know, and I appreciate all of that, man, because you didn't have to do that. So I really appreciate that, you know.
My pleasure, man. Yeah, no, I mean, you know, it's we're all just people, and this go around on the planet's annoying enough and hard enough for some people as it is to waste time being a dick. So I just try to be as nice as possible, and also, yeah, as far as the birthdays go, like when people say, hey, you're always first, I'm like, well, it's always already tomorrow in Australia.
Mm-hmm. Right.
No matter what, it's always already tomorrow here. So I'm from the future, whether you like it or not. Here I am.
Yeah. So look, all right. So I want to start off by saying like just a quick moment of silence for a few people that recently passed away. Dustin Diamond, of course. Recently, Michael K. Williams passed away. Norm Macdonald passed away. Actor A.J. Johnson also passed away. So I just wanted to get a quick moment of silence for those actors, just a few minutes.
Yep.
I appreciate that, man. Well, just to ask you about Dustin Diamond, because I know he was a part of the TNBC family, and I know you guys hung out a few times. What's a pleasant memory you can tell me about Dustin? Because when I watched the show, when I watched the show Saved by the Bell, I don't think he got enough credit, man, because like he was really, really funny on that show. He carried a lot of comedic humor on that show, and it's such a shame that he passed away at such a young age. Like, actually, we were like the same age. So what's something you can tell me that you can remember about him?
Just, you know, we did a lot of appearances at the same time at different places around the United States and wherever. And just, you know, Dustin would inevitably at some point show up to what I was doing or vice versa. And it was just always good to see him. He's just always a generally happy dude. And he loved what he did. He loved what he did. He loved the fans. He just, you know, that was just Dustin. So I was glad to have been alive when he was alive.
Right.
In the same way that I'm glad to, you know, live in the era I live in now for certain reasons. You know, he'd be one of them. So.
Yeah, definitely, man. On a happier note, you've been living in Australia for a minute now. Now Australia is a beautiful place, but it also has a lot of there's a misconception that it's kind of a dangerous place too, because there's like, you know, funnel web spiders, there's white-tailed spiders. People say you should shake your boots and all this other stuff. What is something that you want people to know about living, you know, in that area of the world?
Well, first of all, you rarely see these things that people are scared of.
Okay.
However, that you rarely see them doesn't mean they're not there. There is an old saying that says no matter where you're at, you're never more than 3 feet from a spider. I think in Australia, it's probably 1 foot. You're never more than 1 foot from a spider. We have what's called a huntsman spider here in Australia, and they average about like that big, but I've seen them in my house where they're like that big, and they want to come into your house. I mean, they want to. But the cool thing about them is they just want to be your roommate.
Wow.
You know, they're scary. They're fast as cheetahs. They don't spin webs. But what they do is they kill other things that you don't want in your house. Like black widow, or what we have, what's it called? A redback, which is basically the Australian version of a black widow.
Okay, yeah.
The huntsman spider will eat those. It will eat mice. It will eat other huntsmen. I mean, they're just the garbage disposals and cheetahs combined of the spider world. They just eat everything, and they hunt it down. They don't leave webs. The snakes, most people rarely see snakes here. I have had to wrangle a few snakes here while I've been here, which means actually physically handle some venomous snakes and move them to another location. Okay. The last one was an eastern brown, which is a particularly deadly snake. It does happen. If you come to visit Australia, you are more than likely not going to see anything.
Okay.
More than likely. If you live here, I've been here about 14 years. You will. Then you will. My wife has been here her entire life, and I don't think has ever seen a snake in her life in the wild.
Okay, cool.
So it just depends.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because I live in the South, and like I've seen where I live in South Carolina, I've seen like maybe a few copperheads. I wasn't expecting it. I remember I was getting off work one day, and I thought I saw a cat. I said, wait a minute, it's a bobcat. I mean, it was just walking. I mean, it was just there. You know, you never know what you was. You never know. You know what I mean? So I'm glad you cleared that up.
Right.
So
don't get me wrong, though. Real quick, don't get me wrong, though. We still do have some like minute, tiny little creatures. We have something called an irukandji, which is a jellyfish, probably smaller than my pinky nail. And translucent, so you can't see it. And they travel in the hundreds of millions, hundreds of thousands in the water. And if one touches you, you will most likely die.
Oh, that's not good.
So they actually have scientists that go in, which is why we love science, scientists that monitor the movement of these tiny little minuscule creatures that you couldn't see otherwise. And we'll let you know, hey, by the way, there's a massive swarm of irukandji off the coast of blah, blah, blah. Stay out of the water.
Wow.
So we do have things like that. And we do have a octopus called a blue ring. If it bites you,
I've seen those.
If it bites you, you're probably going to die.
Yeah, I've seen they're really beautiful though, but they're
amazingly beautiful.
Yeah. And I think box jellyfish are in Australia too. The box jellyfish does some damage as well. Kills a lot of people. But again, that's something that people have learned to adapt around, and so incidents occurring with the box jellyfish are few and far between at this point now as well. Right. Wow. My hands are really. I work as a baker. Right.
Oh, okay.
And I work on the college campus, and my hands have the chemical feel on there. What are some of, before you became an actor? Before I even asked that, you're from Maryland originally, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this town in Maryland is a working class town, correct?
I would, yeah,
Blue collar.
Absolutely. Leonardtown, Maryland, absolutely.
So I'm curious to know, what was young Jay like growing up in Maryland? What were you like as a kid?
My memories of Maryland are, we moved away from Maryland before I would have to actually start working. So my memories of Maryland are really nice. They're just being a kid. running out in the woods behind the house, playing with the dogs. We had black snakes and stuff like that around. Eating lots of crab, man, because that's what you do.
Yeah.
In Maryland, you eat crab.
Yeah.
And in fact, last time I was there in 2016, my mom surprised me with I think it was like 2 bushels of steamed Maryland steamed crab.
Oh.
Which I tucked into for like 3-4 days straight, man. I was just like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, man. That's just all I was doing. I was like waking up at like 8 a.m., cracking open a beer, re-steaming some crab, even sometimes not even heating them up, and just eat, all day long. It was ridiculous. So I, just good, wholesome, awesome memories of Maryland. Awesome. It was when I moved from Maryland and then moved elsewhere, moved to California. That's when I later on started having to work and turned into an adult and all that. So,
right. And I asked that because I'm also from a small town, which is right. First of all, I was born in Jersey. I stayed there until I was 8. Folks got a divorce, moved to North Carolina, which is Wilson, North Carolina, which is like 45 minutes away from Raleigh. Yep. And I knew about that town already because I had relatives that are already down there, and I loved it there. But when you're living in a working class town, to have like big dreams, like, being an actor or doing something beyond the work in the 9 to 5, it's almost laughable. So what movie, TV show, actor, what launched you? What changed your life to where you said, I'm going to be an actor? What happened?
Man, everything. Okay. Everything. Man, like every movie I saw, every MASH, Alan Alda, Taxi, Latka Gravis, Danny DeVito, everything when I was a kid. I wanted to do what they were doing. And luckily enough, I was able to do it for a bit. But yeah, everything did. There was so many great shows when I was growing up. That I think everything just kind of put me in that direction. And it just seemed like so much fun to be doing. And of course it is. So nice.
I remember when I was I could have been 8 now. I don't know how old I was. And going to the movies was always a thing for me. I love movies. Mm-hmm. But the movie that really like shifted it for me, like to where like it blew my mind, I had my first movie going experience, was watching Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, because I was very young. I had no idea what I was getting into because I didn't watch Raiders of the Lost Ark. So I watched it on the strength of, this is Harrison Ford. This is the same guy who played Han Solo. I was a Star Wars fan. And it completely blew my mind. Voodoo dolls, monkey brains, all that stuff. It had me invested. I was scared. I was excited. It was everything. And to this day, it's still entertaining. I know Spielberg doesn't love that version, but I still love that version of the movie. That's like my favorite Indiana Jones film. I've grown to love Last Crusade, but that's still my favorite one. So that it's amazing. As a kid, you could watch something and it can totally change everything. I think Return of the Jedi 2 was really special because that was the first movie I actually felt and tasted. And what I meant by that was I had the Biker Scout action figure. So when I saw the Biker Scout on screen, I remember how that felt in my hands. And I remember drinking out of a Burger King Return of the Jedi glass, drinking my Nestle Quick in there. You know what I'm saying? All of that stuff came in. It's just amazing how something you can watch something and do something that can totally change your world.
I remember seeing the first Star Wars in the theater.
Wow.
When it released. I was young, but I remember seeing it. And I remember being a kid just being like,
that's what I'm talking. That's what I'm talking about, CJ. Kids don't understand now because the internet spoils everything. So when you don't, like back in the day, you had maybe one trailer. You watched Cisco and Ebert on Sundays. That's all you had. And so when you go into the movie, that was it.
That was it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so like when I think the last real movie going experience that I really had was when I watched Avengers Endgame, because they didn't give a lot. And when I sat there and watched it, I lied to you not, Jay. I felt like I had an outer body experience. I felt
Right.
like pure joy in a movie theater that I had never ever experienced in a long time. And
Right.
then a year later, COVID happened. So it was really weird because like it's like I felt like I was in Endgame, like art imitates life, because there weren't people outside. I felt like I was in danger of going outside. It was a whole bunch of stuff happening. So but yeah, going back to since it is Saturday, since it's Saturday where you're living at,
Yep.
this is a really random question, but I have to ask, what was your favorite cereal growing up, if you had one?
Oh, dude, I would have to say Captain Crunch peanut butter.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was definitely one of them. And then we were an oatmeal family though, so Captain Crunch was a once a year thing.
All
We
right.
got a box of it maybe every now and then. And then but we were an oatmeal family, so even when we got the flavored oatmeals, like the apple and cinnamon oatmeal
Yeah.
sachets, even when we got those, that was a treat too. Because
Yes.
we
Yes.
were old
Absolutely.
school. Actually, we were old school grits, cream of wheat, and oatmeal. And that was it.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm
Right.
talking about. Because
And,
as oh man, that when you said that, man, because it brought me back. Because like growing up, man, like our only options were cornflakes,
yep.
oatmeal. I'm not talking about quick oatmeal. It just said oatmeal, just oatmeal or
Right.
Biscuit pancakes, which I love because my mom will make them real thin and the crispy edges. Love
Yep.
that. We only did that on Saturday. Now I
Right.
would go over my cousin's house. He would have Lucky Charms, Smurfberry Crunch, which was amazing. He had Pac-Man cereal, and I know people's like, "Oh, Pac-Man cereal is just marshmallows and kicks." No, it was something about that cereal, and I guess because I wasn't used to sugary cereals, that made it amazing. People
Yep.
don't understand. Like, I tell my nephews this: I like you have a lot of advantages, but my childhood was the shit, man. Like, I mean, that era, man, especially with music and everything. Like,
Yep.
I'm not lying to you, Jay. When I saw Michael Jackson moonwalk for the first time on the 25th anniversary special,
Yep.
the next day in my neighborhood, there was such an excitement. I literally felt a change in energy shift from that moment. You know what I'm saying?
We all went to school the next day, and every one of us was moonwalking everywhere we went.
You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And that's what
Yep.
I mean. It's like Prince, like the launch of MTV, all of that stuff. We witnessed that, man. I was just very lucky. You know what I mean? Um, what was I have another question. So when it comes to your show, California Dreams,
Yep.
um, one of the I never forget the first time I saw it because I just remember it just came out. It seemed like it came out of nowhere, and that theme song was it's kind of like the first time you watch Lion King. Ah, so when yeah, and you're instantly hooked. Yeah, yeah, right. You're invested in this, like just that with that show, because kids don't understand now. Now it's like the theme songs for a lot of these sitcoms were very important because that kind of brought you in. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
that song, for serve dudes with attitude. I mean, like it's a beautiful song. What what's some of the theme songs you remember growing up, that you were just like, that kind of got you hyped for the show, that you
Uh,
remember?
wow.
And it could be a
See,
cartoon as well.
oh wow. I almost feel like I've left so much of that behind,
Oh,
not on
wow.
purpose,
Okay.
just because as I've gotten older, I've had to pack more crap into my head.
Right.
And the more crap I have to pack into my head, the more I have to put somewhere else. And I feel like if I try to remember I remember it wasn't that the theme song was great. It was just I used to love the show when I was a kid, but I think it was Family Ties.
Yes.
And when they came on with that, what we do, baby, without us, I was like,
Yes.
you'd hear that and you'd come running and
Yes.
slide into your position, at the foot of the couch or whatever as a kid
Yes.
to watch it. And there were a few that did that to me. Family Ties definitely did that. I think Silver Spoons
Yes. Yes.
did that too. And I want to say I wish they still showed reruns of that, but I really I don't know, I'm not sure if I'd even still watch it now. But back then it was serious, and we got to see Alfonso do his thing.
Yes.
Back then not the first time, but often for many times. And Alfonso Ribeiro, man, it's a great dude and a very funny guy. But yeah, there's so many. I think it was Airwolf, Knight Rider. Knight Rider blew my mind. You hear that with the electronic. Yeah, that Knight Rider was crazy. And I'll never forget. I think one of my favorite shows of all time, David Carradine Kung Fu.
Oh wow, yeah.
Where he was he'd come on and they'd be messing with me. He's like, I wish to harm no one. Nice. And then he was like, whooping people's butts. And the Kung Fu was definitely one of my favorites. And that music too, you'd hear that. And it wasn't like a pulse driving beat or anything like that. It was just this very mellow, somber music that Kung Fu was coming on, but you still were like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I could go on.
Dude, when you said Airwolf, I was about to mention Airwolf. I love that show. Seeing the helicopter hover out of the mountains. And then when you watch it, you go outside and you play hard. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's such a special time, man. Just like the theme songs and TV shows. To California Dreams though. This is why this show is so special to me, because I want you to understand, first, the Saturday morning aspect is something that doesn't even exist anymore. You know what I'm saying? I remember as a kid, I knew Saturdays were like holidays for us as a kid. Saturday mornings, especially when the new fall lineup will happen, and then they would show the Cast of a Different World, previewing some of the cartoons and stuff like that. Just made you so excited. I would be like, okay, look, Saturdays, this is what's going down. I'm going to mow the lawn super early. Okay, I'm going to go around the corner. I'm going to rent an 8-bit Nintendo game that I rented for the 5th time, and I'm doing, but I'm going to watch California Dreams, Saved by the Bell, Hang Time. I'm going to watch Alf cartoon. And you were on a network that had arguably some of the best cartoons. You know what I mean? Right. And you're part of this huge thing. This is not, it's beyond the show, which was great, but you're a part of this thing of Saturday mornings that kids really looked forward to. How does that feel, knowing that you were a part of that? How does that feel?
That's an awesome feeling. I know that, when I look at TV now, like Saturday morning television here in Australia, for the most part, is, you've got a children's channel,
right,
that does children's cartoons, and that's there. And then you turn on to any of the main channels, and you've got reality shows that they play back-to-back reruns nonstop on all the other channels. And it's just like, this is just terrible. When I was growing up, we got our Cap'n Crunch peanut butter, poured ourselves the biggest bowl we could find, turned on Smurfs or whatever the hell, or He-Man, turned that shit on, sat there and ate and drank the peanut butter milk and the whole deal.
Yes.
And we had the greatest time. As far as my show is concerned, yes, we, when they set up Saved by the Bell, California Dreams on Saturday morning as a block,
right, that
changed television. I want to say forever. I think it did. I don't know that it wouldn't have happened anyway without us, but it may or it may not have, but it did change the way television moved from there on out.
Yeah, I say so because I definitely say so. I'm sorry. I mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. But it's like I definitely say so because around the time I could say for me, I started to grow into being a teenager. So I see these teenagers on screen, and I said, this is so cool. Specifically with California Dreams was really awesome because I was like, oh, they actually got a black guy, and he's, I mean, and this guy, he's cool, and I mean, nothing to, okay, but Saved by the Bell, they occasionally have a black guy on the show. They have like Patrick Dempsey show up, or somebody like that. Shout out to Patrick. Or they have like Lisa's love interest, Darren, or somebody like that. But like they had a consistent guy every day. I'm like, who's like representing, and I thought that was really great.
And the funniest dude on the show.
Him, and I mean, all of you guys had your moments, but I think William and Michael were hilarious. Oh man, and oh gosh, there's so much to talk about. I just want to. I was kind of binge watching the show to kind of bring back memories. And one of the thing about the great things about Jake is like he's a misunderstood character. You think he's tough, which he is, but he really has a sensitive side. And I think the episode that really brought that out for me was the smoking episode. Because I remember growing up, and I would like I said, my folks got a divorce, and I would visit my dad, and I would see him drink sometimes, and it would really, I would I would take the beer bottle and I would throw it. I'd be like, why are you drinking? I was a kid, I was always logical. Why are you drinking? You're damaging your body. Now I understand it. I'm saying? You have to have a drink once in a while. But this episode was special because, you see Jake has a struggle with smoking, and then he talks to his uncle. What was your mindset that day to bring you there to where you got emotional like that? Do you remember?
Well, I was a smoker at the time. Actually smoked up until a few years ago. But I was a smoker at the time, and I was being inundated with all this info while we were filming this episode on how much damage I was doing to my body. And part of me was just getting pissed at everybody. So that helped fuel some of the emotion during the filming of that. And part of me was, I was resigned to realizing that I was killing myself by doing this slowly. I mean, some people die pretty young from smoking. Some people don't. Some people I think one of my grandmothers smoked up until she passed, and I think she was like 94. So it depends on, it's a crapshoot. You don't know.
It really is. George Burns lived to be like what, 100, and he smoked.
Right, and that dude drank martinis for breakfast, and had and was never without a burning cigar in his mouth. And he was 103, 103 or something like that.
Yeah, he was up there.
Right.
Yeah, but what is something finally that you remember about each cast member?
I just, just in a way to like generalize it where I can give an answer for everyone without having to go from one to one to one. Because we all have our own relationships with each other. But one thing I can say is that I think that everybody was meant to play their part. I think everybody was there for a reason, meant to play the character they played, and they all did it well. And as I've said in other interviews, and as I said, or as we sang on the show, I'm so glad I was there.
Awesome.
So, everybody just was meant to be there, and I'm glad to have been a part of it.
Awesome. That's good to hear. I noted, and I watched an episode recently where Sly takes out a girl who's blind, and I'm like, hold on, that's Nikki Cox.
Yes.
And for people who don't know, Nikki Cox was on a show called Unhappily Ever After.
Yep.
And arguably one of the most beautiful girls I've ever seen in my entire life. Her, look, I'm just
looking at your face when you say this, you're like,
her, Alyssa Milano, Drew Barrymore, Phoebe Cates, young Halle Berry, all of those females were just, they were gorgeous. You know what I mean? I lived in a time where I remember the first time I watched Gremlins and I saw Phoebe Cates and I was just like,
oh,
you know what I mean?
So did you get the whole Phoebe Cates Fast Times at Ridgemont High experience?
I didn't. I got more of the Gremlins experience, I
was a 70s kid. So, we got Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Oh, that's great, man. Oh, I wanted to ask about Jimmy Fallon because, man, I tell you, when you guys showed up and he got you all together, and you guys sung the song, and it was beautiful, man. I mean, and what I liked about it the most was, first of all, it was really cool that you guys got to do it with the Roots, and
Right. That's one of the things I say is like we did some stuff with the Roots.
that is awesome. And then
Right.
like, and everybody still has like pretty much looks the same. And it like, I don't know if you guys like froze yourself in carbonite. I don't know how you do it, but everybody looks great. What was that experience like for you?
First of all, it was a great experience. Jimmy Fallon's a very nice guy, very funny.
Cool.
Very grateful to him just for getting us together and doing that whole thing. Very nice to see Dennis Haskins again, of course.
Oh, yeah,
Always
yeah,
nice to
yeah.
see Dennis Haskins. I had just flown in from Australia. I was exhausted, so I was standing there about to topple over.
Wow, you're jet lagged.
I was so tired and so exhausted. It was ridiculous. So my memories of that are pretty hazy. And then yeah, I've seen it. I barely remember doing it, but I do remember it. But there is one thing I remember, and it was seeing Jimmy Fallon in this like Tiny Tim outfit. It's like white under bob wig and like this what was the skit? I don't even remember the skit. Anyway, it was a good time. I was exhausted. I was about to pass out, and I'm glad we did it. So,
And you had pizza.
yes, and I had pizza. I'll relay that story. I live in Australia. Pizza here is different. It's not bad. It's just different. I want a certain type of pizza, and it just doesn't happen here.
Right.
So when I arrived, I flew in from my 7,000-hour flight from Australia to Los Angeles to New York. Which, yes, God, terrible journey. Anyway, got in the car. They picked me up, brought me to my hotel room. I went up to my suite, threw my bags in, walked right down the road to Ray's Pizza, ordered a large pepperoni pie, which in Australia, large is like this big.
Yeah.
A large and So I'm walking back with this large to my hotel room or hotel suite or whatever it was. Get to the kitchen, set it down on a table, and basically just ate the entire thing in about half an hour.
Nice.
It was just one of those things where I was like, I'm so not sorry.
You shouldn't be. And that's to get real New York pizza using real mozzarella. That's like,
right.
You have to do it,
Right. And I was talking to that pizza the whole way back too. I'm just like, you don't stand a chance. You are in such deep shit, dude.
Dude, I'm like, what? It's like, what is something that you can, if you can eat it every day, probably aside from pizza, but it's something that you can eat every day without the consequence of high cholesterol or weight gain, what would it be? Well, I know that you like to grill out a lot. You like.
I have been changing my diet. Okay, I am a pit master. Yes, but I have slowly been. So I do low and slow, real barbecue. I've been doing it for as long as I can remember. I have been changing my lifestyle. I am down to like one serving of red meat a week, and then get cheese. It's actually really cheese, but not having put those cows through the whole dairy farm process, which is also terrible.
Yeah, it really is.
That would be nice. So yeah, it would be the double bacon cheeseburger, and then obviously pepperoni pizza would be another one.
Do you like sweets? Are you an ice cream or no?
You know what? I was never really a sweets guy until I found out I was diabetic. And I'm like, I don't even really like sweets. How am I? What the hell?
Right.
This is stupid. And so you suck. So When I found out I was diabetic, I was like, all right, yeah, no problem. I don't really go for the sweets anyway. I always go for the savory. And then after that happened, all of a sudden I found that every time I see something on TV that's a sweet dessert and there's gooey crap dripping and chocolate, I'm just like, oh, that looks good. Now I'm like, okay, I want some of that.
Yeah.
I'm like, now that I can't have it
from. That's how it be.
Yep.
That's how it be when you it's just like, when you want something, you really want it, where it's good. Like I could never resist if I go to the store and I see a whatchamacallit candy bar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, those were good.
Oh, I can't say no, bro. Like I'll be like, yeah, I gotta have it. You know what I mean? Wow. So
I'm that way with Snickers and Reese's Pieces.
Oh, Reese's Pieces. Yes. Oh. Yes. How about a Chunky bar? Do you remember Chunky?
I remember Chunky bars. Yep.
Yeah. Good stuff. I used to, my mom, God bless her. She used to love to take a Snicker bar and put it in the freezer and then like chop it up. You know what I mean? And it's so good. So good, man.
Yep. Chop it up, mix it with ice cream, or just chop it up and eat it as pieces. Yeah, whichever. Yep.
Yeah. General questions. Now, I'm asking this question as like a young lad. I just want to know this. What was it like? What is it like? What was it like being a heartthrob? Because I would look inside of these Teen Beat magazines as a kid. I'd be like, wow, these guys get all of the girls and I would look at the Teen Beat magazines and look at like some of the poses you guys would do. I'm like, and then I'll start smizing, and then people look at me like I'm strange. But like, what? I mean, really though, what was it like to just have girls chase after you, scream, and all this other stuff? Well, what was that like? Seriously.
Well, I mean, now I look at it and I'm kind of like, oh, it's ridiculous. At the same time, it was, I look back, I'm like, oh, I look back fondly, but I'm also like, that's ridiculous. Like we are such a stupid species, but at the same time, it's like, who's not going to like that?
Right.
Who's not going to like being in that position? So yes, I loved it. At the same time, like, I would love it if certain books were looked at as fondly as, the latest teen idol, or, if certain musicians, and when I say musicians, I mean musicians. I don't mean people who slap together some samples and
right.
Make, you know what I mean? I mean, people who have dedicated time to their craft, look at, my favorite guitarist of all time, Al Di Meola. If people would look at not him, but his body of work, what he does, when he's doing it, how he plays, as fondly as they looked at us, and some do, but it was people with very malleable minds looking at us, thankfully, because that's where the fandom comes from in many ways. Plus the product we're putting out, which was a great show. Right. But I don't know. I have very mixed feelings about teen idolatry, and it's not a religious thing. It's not a religious objection at all. It's just it doesn't settle right with me, but also, like I said, grateful to have been there.
Right. I mean, because you guys, like when you guys, I don't know, maybe it was like I don't know, maybe something I thought I saw, but you guys kind of like did like little mall tours, right? Or did you guys visit high schools, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, I was gonna ask what was that like? And I mean, because when I think of mall tours, I think of Tiffany. I think we're alone now. And so, like, did you? I mean,
yes, there were times where I feared for my life.
Nice.
And I
that's what I want to hear. That is right. Awesome.
There are times I feared for my life. There was one. I'll tell you like two stories.
Okay.
Of scared to death.
Wow.
There was one mall. I don't remember what state or city it was. It was somewhere, and I do remember it was in the Midwest.
Okay.
It was just me. I went to do an appearance, and they set up this little plastic table, had a stack of autograph, or a stack of pictures for me to autograph about this high, and then another couple boxes of them down under the table, a chair, and one elderly security guard.
This is gonna be great.
This section of the mall was packed.
Wow.
And like I said, this is kind of what I was talking about with the teen idolatry, and it's just a weird thing. And to this day, I still don't really understand it, but again, grateful at the same time, scared to death. I was signing autographs, and I just started noticing that the table was starting to press into my gut.
Wow.
Pretty heavily. And so I'm kind of, I'm starting to push back the table. And then I notice, like, the crowd is just, they're not waiting anymore. They're just surging forward.
What?
And I look over the security guard, and he just kind of looks at me and is like, and he kind of stepped back. Like, he actually kind of took a few steps back and was just kind of like, yeah, I don't get paid enough for this shit.
Wow.
And I actually had to, I shoved as hard as I could, which didn't do much, but ended up sliding underneath the table, came out the side, jumped up. And as I'm jumping up, I had a hair pulled, a couple of my earrings ripped out.
Oh my God.
My shirt was ripped, and I had jumped up onto I think it was a fountain. I'm not exactly sure, but I think it was a fountain. And I ran along the edge of the fountain to the other side, which bought me some time.
Wow.
And then I just ran, and I had no idea where I was running. And I ended up in some corridor in the mall, like where there was it said, restrooms that way or something like that. And I just sat there, and I was just, and I was just,
that is so freaking cool.
Scared to death. Like, I felt like they were going to kill me out of just wanting to have a piece of me at the time. Now this doesn't happen now. Just getting that out of the way. I'm just saying.
Right.
Like, this never happens now. But anyway, so that was one instance, and then there was another one, not nearly as bad, but I did I think it was Hollywood Nights event in, I think it was Staten Island, New York, or in one of the boroughs, and they were introduced. It was basically a charity basketball event with young celebrities.
Was it Rock and Jock? It wasn't associated.
No, Hollywood Nights. It was it was Michael Marish, very, very, very good guy.
Okay.
Put this together and does this. It's celebrity basketball event, and you go and you play a basketball game with certain people, and he just flies you around the states or buses you around the states, and you go and do this, and it's for charity.
Mm-hmm.
And this one particular event, there was security. There was all kinds of things going on. It was great. They were introducing us, and I think this was like when I was at my heyday. They introduced me, and the crowd kind of went a little crazy. And then they just decided we don't want to sit in our seats anymore, because it was in a high school gymnasium. And they just started coming out of just running down the bleachers. And it was it was a very large gymnasium, and just running towards me. And that was when security was actually like, all right, it was one of those like Secret Service moments. All right, we got to go. Grabbed me and pushing me through some doors, and everybody else as well. And doors slammed shut, and but there was a few seconds there where it was like, oh, panic is setting in.
Wow.
And like I said, again, this stuff does not happen now. We are way past that. There was some moments, and it didn't happen a lot back then, but there were some moments where it did. That's
okay. I want to know, like, when you're in those two particular moments you're talking about, is it in the moment it's fear, and then later on you think, wow, that was pretty cool, or was it just like, oh no, that was just terrible?
It's a mixture of both. You're like, hey man, like, that's like I said earlier, like, I'm glad it's there. I'm enjoying it. It's cool, but holy crap, what the was that? So it's a mixture. And again, like, this all happened like 30 something years ago. 25, 30 years ago also. So like, I've got my memories of the memories, and I'm not even sure I can process what actually was going on at the time now and give you an accurate description of what was really going on in my mind because of the time that has passed.
Right. Okay. Of course. Wow. Right. So, I mean, I was watching this documentary called Kid 90, which is directed by Soleil Fry. It's her documentary. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really fascinating because, like, first of all, that's another girl too. Soleil Fry, I thought she was amazing. Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
You see in this documentary, like, just like the people she knew, that particular era, 90s, right? It seems like you can literally connect the dots. Oh, she knew Leo knew this, it's like, it's really incredible to watch. And if you ever get a chance to watch it, she's super candid about everything that happened. And like, and also some of the possible pitfalls. And I want to know, how did you avoid those pitfalls? Because, you hear about a lot of child actors that go through stuff like that and they don't survive. So what did you do to keep a level head through Hollywood? What was your secret?
My secret is that I really didn't keep a level head. I did, as far as dealing with people went. Mm-hmm. I never, well, not, I don't want to say never, I did my damnedest to not put myself above other people. However, as far as the lifestyle and partying goes, I did not keep a level head. I partied my ass off.
Right on. Right on.
Right on in many ways and not right on in many others. I would walk into a club and somebody would slap a bag of Coke or a bag of X or a small bag of X, with like 5, pills enough for me and my buddies, or a bag of whatever into my hand when I first arrived.
Right.
And at the time, sure, man, I partied. I did that stuff. I did read somebody on YouTube posted on, there was a video of something and somebody posted, oh yeah, this was Jay's heroin addiction days. I'm like, I actually got on there and commented like, hey, this is Jay Anthony Franke. Never addicted to heroin. Not a thing. Don't know where that came from, but no, I didn't keep a cool head. And that is maybe a secret, maybe not. I guess some people knew that, some people didn't. I partied my ass off and got to a point where I had to walk away from the business.
Okay.
I had to walk away because it was just, no matter where I went, it was being handed to me. So even when I was like, I'm not paying anything, I'm not paying for any more drugs, or I'm not, it was still, no matter where I went, it was always in my face. So I actually I quit completely. Walked away from the business, walked away from everything for quite a while. Actually, no, period, walked away. Because it was either that or I felt like I was like, I'm going to die. That's just, and at the time, just for some people out there, yes, celebrities suffer from depression too. At the time I suffered from depression. I still do. So that mixed with, the things that I was already suffering from was not a good mix. And I was coherent enough to get the fuck out, basically. Right. So pardon my language, but
no, I appreciate you just even like sharing that, with us, because like, who was I talking to? I was talking to Judd Whitnick, who was a part of Real World season 3. He's now he's done a lot of things, and I was telling him how like I feel like people who are creative in the arts, writing or acting or whatever, you're more than likely to deal with that depression. You know what I mean? It's like it's gonna come in some way somehow. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is about people who are creative, but it's just the part of the territory.
I'll tell you kind of what it is. Acting is empathy. People who can act experience empathy I think in a way that I'm not saying it's better than other people. It's different. When I see somebody in pain, I feel that pain. I feel it, and it hurts me. And there are times in my life where I've been like, I don't want to feel my pain or that person's pain, especially combined. I don't want to feel that shit together. So, you've got some drugs. Let's do, let me get out of here. I got to get out of here mentally. Right. That's where some of that, at least for me, that's where some of that came from. There are people who are in the business, handled it fantastically, and are still in the business, and that's great.
Right.
I wish I was one of them. I wasn't. I'd be much better at it now, but back then, I think I just felt things too deeply, and I don't mean that as a good or a negative or a positive. It's just I felt things too deeply, and I had to run from them mentally, and therefore the party drugs and all that came in, and it was like, yeah, bring it, whatever.
Right.
And I think that's where you've seen quite a few people go who passed.
Yeah.
Too early. I think that would have been a similar situation, but I mean, I'm talking candidly here. I'm not a psychiatrist or, but that's just my.
And I appreciate that, man, because I think I will never forget the day when Robin Williams passed. And
terrible. Yep.
I was really beside myself because I was just like, because I go through the person. A lot of people laugh, and he's incredibly talented. And I just couldn't understand, but I do understand because like when you said what you just said, the empathy part, which I think a lot of people need to be more empathetic. I think that's the problem with a lot of the world right now, but it weighs on you. It weighs on you, the weight of, and especially after the year that we've had of 2020. What is something that you learned about yourself in 2020 that you carried over to this year? What is something that you learned about yourself?
Man, you know what? There's a lot of negatives that I've learned about myself, but I want to be positive on this one. Okay. I've learned this last year, I've learned that I care about people more than I even want to. And I actually look at that and go, that's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
And it's not I'm not sitting here going, I care about people more. No, believe me, this is not me trying to toot a horn or say that this is a wonderful thing. It's a hard thing. But I don't know. I think it's not after just last year. I think it's after from 2016 until now, like just watching how many people fundamentally do not give a shit about other people.
Yeah.
Has just made me realize that I really care more about other people than I thought I did. And if that helps me be a better person, great. It's hard to say that without it sounding self-righteous, or I don't know. Like,
no, it's not self-righteous, man. It's like, I feel what you're saying. I really do, because like 2020 changed me in a huge way, because like it was like a culmination of events, because a huge piece of, first of all, a huge piece of my identity was going to the movies, and I'm a movie lover. So when the movies shut down, right, that I was like, who am I? Then the culmination of events that happened with George Floyd and the Black Lives Movement, COVID, Trump, Chadwick Boseman passing away. That really hurt me. Just a whole bunch of stuff. But then the positives, like seeing Will Smith and Janet Hubert make amends after 30 years of holding a grudge. seeing I'm not trying to make it political, but seeing Biden, just seeing Trump get out the fuck out, getting out the office. That, what I'm saying? Uh, watching this is gonna sound strange. Watching the movie Soul, well, which is the Pixar movie.
Yep.
That reminded me that you can't focus on one thing, because if you focus on one thing and that one thing only, you'll miss everything around you. You know what I mean? And you just really have to take life one day at a time.
Right.
And it's just and starting this thing right here that I'm doing. You know what I mean? Being able to talk to the people to people that I've either watched on TV or listen to their music and just tell them thank you. Thank you for I know you don't know me, but just thank you for doing that. The things that you have done and continue to do, I still listen to, and it pushes me forward to the future, and it gives me hope. You know what I'm saying? Wow. So I thank you for not just being a part of a show that I watch every Saturday morning, but also was a part of a block that I watch every Saturday morning. And just thank you for doing that. You know what I'm saying? I know you did it for you. I know you did it to make money, but you put a lot of smiles on people's faces. You made them forget about what they were feeling at the time. A young boy who was dealing with, your parents being, divorced. It hurt. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of kept me, that watching your show and watching shows like your show just kind of, got my mind off of that. So that's what this show is about. The special delivery show, is just to say thank you. Thank you for doing what you've done. I really appreciate that, man.
I appreciate you saying that. And I've mentioned this before in a few interviews recently. You're right. It was about, hey, cha-ching, making that check and that money's coming in and I'm getting famous and I'm having fun. And it was about that when I was doing it. Over the years, and even back then to an extent, back then you'd make a fan's week or day or month or whatever by stopping and signing something. That was awesome. But now when you hear people say, man, I was going through some stuff or I had cancer or my parents were getting divorced or this, and I watch. And even now in 2020 or 2021, I was watching your show and it brought me through this. And just thank you. Like, okay, all the stuff that it was about before, that's all gone.
Right.
It is about like, no, thank you. Like, thank you. You're welcome. And thank you. Like without you guys, we wouldn't have been making the show, first of all. Second of all, we wouldn't be having these conversations, and I wouldn't be we wouldn't be shutting this interview down later and me walking away going, oh man, I'm so glad that, somebody found something cool about us and it's made their life better. Like that's where I'm like, okay, all right, this is awesome. So, and that's also part of the reason why, like, I'm kind of a private person in many ways. I've been saying no to interviews for years and years and years and years, and just started recently doing them because of this.
Right.
And also we want to get us on trying to raise awareness and get us more people to watch it. But
definitely.
It's because of this. So I thank you. And I think on behalf of the rest of the cast as well, thank you.
Yeah, man. So, definitely. Thank you, man. I mean, seriously, man, I hate when people down the whole nostalgia aspect. I got an argument with a girl, matter of fact, where she was like, the 1990s Turtles movie that came out in 1990, she's like, oh, it's not as good as it used to be. That's just you're just feeling the nostalgia. I'm like, no. I mean, everybody has an opinion, but you're wrong. Okay. That's Jim Henson working his magic. That movie is amazing. I mean, I still watch it and I feel this feeling. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially the way the world is now. You know what I'm saying? You have to have hope. You gotta have hope. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have hope, what you're gonna do? You know what I mean? You gotta have that hope when you're in a place where you don't want to be, like a 9-to-5 job. You know what I'm saying? You got to have that feeling of things are going to get better. And watching things like Ninja Turtles or watching your show, you know, that makes it better. So yeah, man, I really appreciate it, man. I really do. And I appreciate your time today and, you know, this interview. And this is really a treat for me, man. Really, believe me when I say, man, this is really a really treat. I really appreciate it, man.
I appreciate that, and I'm honored. And again, yes, thank you. And I'm happy to do it.
Yes, sir. Before I go, I know that you are you know, because I have a hoodie on the way, and I'm excited to get it.
Yep.
So how can people reach you if they want to get some California Dreams CDs or merchandise?
Well, the merchandise, like people just asked, is, you know, where can we get this stuff? And we don't know. So, the people that I have admitting my sites and my wife and I, we're like, well, we can try to put some stuff together. So it's pretty expensive for us to get the stuff. So we don't, so you can get like hoodies and t-shirts. And there's a DVD that's like really old that we just found a bunch of copies of and bought them from somebody. And so we've got like 30 left or something like that. You can order them from us, and then we have to order them because we're not turning this into a business. I'm not a businessman, but we do want people to have stuff that they want. So if you want like t-shirts or a hoodie or something, you can go to my Instagram, which is, I think, at Jay Anthony Franke.
Okay.
And just private message the admin there. Sometimes I'm on the Instagram, sometimes I'm not, but usually the admin always checks it. And you can talk to them and they'll fill you in on what we can do and what we can't do. And then you can get some merch if you like. If you just want to say hi, that's cool too. Like I don't, you know, like I said, we're not getting rich on this. I'm not trying to take people's money or whatever. So if you want something, we'll do it for you. If not, just say hi. I'm glad to hear from you. And
cool.
So that's Jay Anthony at Jay Anthony Franke, I think, on the Instagram. And then just search for me on Facebook and you'll find me.
Okay, cool. So but if anybody wants to just say hey to you, they can reach you through your Instagram or your Facebook, correct?
Prefer the Instagram or the fan site on Facebook. And if I have people that look at it, and sometimes I get on. So if I, you know, no matter what, I'll probably read your message at some point.
Okay.
I try to, no matter what.
Right
I try to respond. But yeah, I do work a 9-to-5 as well as some other stuff, and we got a little special needs dog, and it's a little craziness. But you want to? Oh no, she's busy right now.
Yes. I was about to ask, how is the dog doing? I heard the dog in the background.
She's doing all right. She's got something called mega esophagus.
Oh.
Sweetest little dog you've ever met. But when she eats, we have to feed her in a special chair called a Bailey chair, which makes her stand up while she's eating, so that gravity pulls the food down because her esophagus just doesn't work.
Oh my goodness.
And it's same with water. So we have the special water bowl that she has to stand up when she drinks. So gravity pulls the water down instead of just sitting in her esophagus. And once she's done eating or drinking, we have to actually hold her upright in our arms for a good 45 minutes to an hour, just to make sure that everything goes down and into her stomach.
Goodness. Wow.
But
she's healthy. I mean, aside from that, but she's eating.
She's thriving. Okay. So it's just, so she's got that, and she's got a couple other like minor issues, health issues. But this is the one that would, if you're not on top of it, will kill a dog. Because they basically, what they do is they aspirate. If the food gets stuck in their esophagus, it gets into their lungs and they get pneumonia and die. So we've got to be very careful every time she eats or drinks. So we're on top of it 24/7. So that keeps us pretty busy.
Yes, I can imagine. Yeah.
But we love her. She's absolutely amazing. She's absolutely has my heart undivided. So
definitely. How's the missus doing?
She's doing good. We're both doing the, we're both changing our lifestyles as far as the health goes. So yeah, she's on the, I think I still have a little bit of the red meat once a week. She's completely vegan at this point.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm slowly following, but yeah, it's all going good.
Cool. Excellent. Excellent, man. Was there anything you want anybody to know before we end the interview? Or anything that
Again,
you
just
got
thank
going
you.
on?
Yeah, just thank you. I don't know what's happening with our borders and international travel in and out of Australia, but I'm signed up to do some possible Comic-Cons in the near future. So just look out,
Cool.
maybe coming to a Comic-Con near you, possibly. We'll see. That's it. So
Cool.
Thank you again, everybody. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for joining the show, and thank you for taking your time to do it. And we'll definitely look out for those Comic-Cons because I want to go to one soon. I missed one in Atlanta because I was just so paranoid about it.
Yep,
But
fair enough.
yeah, man. Thanks, man. Thanks for taking your time, and this is a real treat, man. I really appreciate the interview, man. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. It was good. It was fun.
Yes, sir. You have a great day. All right.
You too, Emmanuel.
All right. Peace.